right? A VC passing on your business doesn't mean that he doesn't think it's great, it's a good business, or that you can't be successful. It simply means that he doesn't feel he can add as much value as you should be looking for from a VC.
In our first meeting, even if I think your product is stellar and you've got, IP and an awesome advisory board, if you just suck as a person, you're not gonna get a second meeting.
How do you decide who's a good opportunity versus somebody who you pass up, whether it's after the first call or they don't even get to go to a call? And how is that informed by the kind of other folks you have around you in your fund and your reasons?
Yeah, I can maybe take a first pass at that. I think
Sure.
the first filter that's applied, Andrew, as you were hinting to, really has a lot to do with the fund's focus and thesis, right? So in our particular case, for example, we're a deep tech fund. That doesn't mean that every and all hardware businesses are going to be in focus for us, right? What we look for is real science-based innovation. So we're going to look for companies where you've got technical founders with impressive pedigrees, right? We're talking about people who have postdocs who've been published multiple times in the past. We're going to look for businesses that have new and innovative patents. So this isn't incremental innovation. It's a real break, right? So for example, we're looking at the semiconductor space and chips in general. A lot of chips today are incremental innovation, and by the time you'll get them to market, they're probably not what we're looking for. But when I see things like quantum computing and photonic computing coming up, well, those are truly groundbreaking. And I think, as sometimes if I say no to a company, or a lot of times, it's going to be because it's not part of my fund's focus and it's not part of our thesis. That doesn't mean I don't think you can't build a great company or that you won't be able to fundraise. It just isn't necessarily a fit for me. And I think that's something that's important for founders to understand, right? A VC passing on your business doesn't mean that he doesn't think it's great, it's a good business, or that you can't be successful. It simply means that he doesn't feel he can add as much value as you should be looking for from a VC. And I think that's probably the first filter that everyone has to go through.
I think it's a very important point, Charles, you just mentioned, is that also from a founder perspective, right? I think it's important for them also to sort of do the homework and approach the right VC, because I think it can be some sort of diminishing in a way when you approach a lot of VCs and they pass on your business, and then it gets sort of gets to your heart and you feel like, okay, I'm not building something which is legitimate and like promising for the market you're trying to approach. But for us, it's very similar, right? For example, if a company in the hardware space is approaching us, it's an immediate no, just because we have a thesis which says we only invest in asset-light software businesses, and that's of course sort of like a hard criteria we look at, and which would not work for us. Even hardware-enabled SaaS in a way is challenging, just because we haven't done much in this space, and we're quite hands-on with our portfolio companies, which means that we literally have weekly calls with all of them, and then additional deep dive sessions on three main areas, which is strategy, and then a whole customer acquisition process, and of course fundraising. And we just feel like we want to partner with a startup. We can believe that we add a lot of value, and both the capital but also the time we and the startup spend together is spent well and makes a lot of sense. So for us, that's why it's quite important to really understand sort of where they're coming from. But more from a screening perspective, to follow on your question, is we look at very, very strong founders, right? I mean, I want to really understand how well do they know their market, how well have they done the research, do they know the players in the market, and are they really passionate about what they're doing, right? And in the end, I call it like a marriage for us essentially, because it's a partnership the next couple of years, and we're in there for the long term. We're not in there for short-term growth. We want to build businesses which last, and we need to see the same mindset from the founder. So that's, I think, a second very important criteria for us, and we spend quite a lot of time on having a couple of different call rounds with the founders to get to know them, get to know their background, and really try to understand sort of what kind of problem they're solving and how much behind they are. And if we can tick this box, even if the company is pre-revenue or quite early, or some things are not quite right on track, we're happy to jump in, because we can help coach the founders in a founders coach us and essentially scale their business to the next levels, right? And I think that's a key point from a VC to bring that perspective and not just bring the capital, because there's just so much more you can add and work together and sort of help building these portfolio companies.
Excellent points by both Charles and Tobias. Thesis fit, coachability, the team, super important. So, of course, like I said, we have a founder focus. So, number one thing is, are you actually an underrepresented founder? And are you in a non-target market? So, after we get those things out the way, then it really does get down to, do we believe that this company can scale? The thing is, we do a lot of early stage investing, so pre-seed, seed. We're writing 50K, 75K, 100K checks. So it's not a huge amount of money, but when you're early stage and maybe you're only raising like a 500K or a million round, that can be a big chunk of what you're trying to fundraise. So it is really important to us as early stage investors that we're seeing, can we actually help this company? And it's interesting what Tobias is saying, because we're kind of running into that problem now. Because we have a founder focus, it can be difficult to determine. It's like, okay, and we're a small team, and there's only so many resources, only so much time. So we have to be really thoughtful about who we bring on, because
Right.
if it's not going to be a mutually beneficial relationship, then then we've just wasted some money, or possibly wasted their time. So we definitely try to be super intentional about what value we can bring to their table, in addition to all the standard stuff like thesis fit, a great team. And just one more point on that is coachability. Are the founders coachable? Nobody wants to work with an a-hole. So if in our first meeting, even if I think your product is stellar and you've got IP and an awesome advisory board, if you just suck as a person, you're not gonna get a second meeting. So it definitely is important to come into that meeting with the investors just being pleasant and humble. I think there's some founders who have come to the table just like kind of snooty, and it's like, no one wants that energy, and I don't want to work with you. And that attitude can be how some otherwise amazing founders can lose that on investment.